What's going on, world? It's your boy Hollywood coming back to you with another Holly Pally, the Art of War my way to Rep Paladin DPS. Want to emphasize that this is PvE only. As of right now, I won't be having any of the Azerite traits in here as well. So I'll probably call this a 1.5 video. It's just a little bit of an update on some of the things that I've been testing and what's been working for me. So jumping right in, it's my item level, some of the gear that I got, weapons and things of that nature. You want to, as far as stat priority, of course, strength, which is in all gear for us. But mostly you want to know the secondary stats. So we want to prioritize haste, crit, versatility, and then mastery. Just so happens with the gear and whatnot, there's a lot more mastery around. But yeah, that's the stat priority. And let's hit into the talents. So how I want to do this one and how I've been testing it out is I've been doing a talent tree for mythics and a talent tree for raids. Reason being is because in mythics, a lot more trash, a lot more moving around with bosses. There's a lot more nuances going on. Not to say that raid is not the same, but with the raid, there's a lot more time for you to dig in and damage, and that's where Rep Paladin shines. When they have the chance to really just sit there for a good amount of time and just lay in. But when you're moving around a lot, when you gotta run from one place to another, that's when you start to notice the problems with the Rep Paladin. They really don't have much of ability when it comes to mobility, and they really have to set up a few moves because they have to get their holy power up. So I'm gonna start off with this one since I already have it out. This is my rating build. So we'll start off with the first line, Righteous Verdict. Templar's Verdict. Increased damage of your next Templar's Verdict by 15% for the next 6 seconds. So for some of y'all that's more visual, let's say I got 3. You see the little buff on the top on the icon, and then every one after that will get the buff and it'll refresh it. So you'll be getting that extra 15% to every Templar's Verdict except the first one. So the first one won't have 15%, but everyone after that gets the 15% increased damage on Templar's Verdict. So that's what I've been using. If you check my last video, you know why I don't use Execution in Sentence of Zeal. But Zeal does have its place. It is pretty good. And I do use it for my mythic, so I will go into that next. Next row, Hammer of Wrath. Reason being, when you pop Avenging Wrath, as you can see, it's lit up now. So I can use it. It gives me an additional point. It generates 1 holy power, and when they're below 20% health, you can use Avenging Wrath as freely without. You can use Hammer of Wrath without needing the Avenger's Wrath. When you pop Avenging Wrath, you can use this Hammer of Wrath at any % health, but so that if you don't have Avenging Wrath after 20%, you can use it. So let's read the tooltip. Hurls a divine hammer that strikes an enemy for 5k damage, holy damage, only usable on enemies that have less than 20% health, or while you are empowered with Avenging Wrath. The rest of this line, Blade of Wrath, Fires of Justice, you guys know how I feel about those from the last video. I will say that when you get more haste, as you start prioritizing more and more haste, Blade of Wrath becomes a lot more, it procs a lot more, because this Art of War goes off of how much haste you have as well. So you start to see it work a lot more. But Hammer of Wrath to me is better because as you know, I try to stay away from RNG as much as possible, and this generates holy power, and with the haste that we gain, it brings down the cooldown of it, and it just helps with the burst. I mean, it's a very bursty move, and if you think about it, or how I've seen it play out, the amount of procs that Blade of Wrath gives you is almost around the same amount of Hammer of Wrath you'll probably throw, depending on your haste. So I'll go with Hammer of Wrath, the consistency with the holy power, and everything like that. It just works out for me better with the burst and things of that nature. This row could go with anyone in this row. I go with Fist of Justice. I mean, I switch between these two. To be honest with you, I just believe I just left Fist of Justice because I didn't want to change it. Probably more for a raid, you would probably, maybe you'll go with Repentance. I mean, usually the raids that I've been in, since it's the normal ones as of right now, I haven't hit Heroic or Mythic. People are just group pulling and just going nuts, with the 2 tanks. So there's really no real spot to put in Repentance. Fist of Justice, it helps out. You can stun one target so that the tank is not taking as much damage. And as you can see here, each holy power spent reduces the remaining cooldown of Hammer of Justice by 2 seconds. So I mean, it's not that 60-second cooldown. It just falls in place with whatever you're doing. You're going to be spending holy power regardless. It's going to be bringing down the stun. I would just suggest that you make sure you stun whichever target as many times as possible. Like, as soon as it's up and you have the global cooldown to do it, use it. It only helps. There's nothing wrong with it. Next row, Wake of Ashes. Lash out at your enemies, dealing 11k radiant damage to all enemies within 12 yards in front of you, and reducing their movement speed by 50% for 5 seconds. Demons and undead are also stunned for 5 seconds, and it generates 5 holy power. In my opinion, there's no contest. Wake of Ashes is just so important. It's so much of a part of what a Red Paladin is now, especially after the last expansion with the weapon. I mean, if they wouldn't have given you this in some way, shape, or form or fashion, I think it would have been people would have been livid. It just, there's no, I don't really see anything in this line that can beat that out. It gives you a 45-second cooldown, which you could put into the rotation, which would give you more righteous verdicts or whatever. It's just, I mean, I don't know who doesn't play with it. I haven't played with the other two, to be honest with you, so I couldn't even say. I will say that maybe consecration could be useful when it's a boss that you sit there for, but again, like I said, you're not really sitting there that much with any of these bosses. You're really not going to gain the full effect of consecration like you would want. Possibly, I mean, you would have to finagle the bagel a little bit. I could see it working in certain bosses where, like, maybe you leave the consecration down, and, like, for instance, what was that fight in Uldir? I want to say it's Victus. Hold on. Who was the boss? The one that not cool. I think I want to say is Zek, where you have to, the tanks have to tank them in the middle, and you have to run to kill the ads, and then you come back to the boss. I could see it working like there, so it'll be very niche, is what I mean. That's the best way to put it. Consecration could be a very niche in a raid, depending on how you want to use it. All around, just Wake of Ashes. I mean, there's no contest. Divine Judgment I haven't used either. I have to do more testing. It sounds like it's cute. Each enemy hit by an ability that consumes holy power increases the damage of your next judgment by 20%, stacking up to 15 times. So it sounds kind of cute in the sense that I could see it maybe working in something with a lot of heavy trash, or a heavy trash boss. I could see it really working out, but again, this Wake of Ashes, man, this is too good. Next line here, all of these work well. It just depends. you know, on the fight or what you want to do. I go with Cavalier 9 times out of 10 because Paladin is a bad in mobility, and a lot of these fights require you to move sometimes fairly quickly. So Cavalier I usually grab up. I4-9 has its place. You know, I've seen people taunt the boss, hit I4-9 to get some extra damage on the boss, and then taunt back. You know, mixed with this and Shield of Vengeance to get a little bit of extra damage. You know, if that's what you do, that's what you do. You know, so you know, just that's, you know, just something that you guys might want to know. I've seen some people do that. It works out well. I mean, I don't know how much damage that it would, like a damage boost you would get, you know, but you could try it, see if it works for you. And Unbreakable Spirit, of course. I mean, who doesn't want more Shields of Vengeance or Lay on Hands, you know, to help out the team? It's just, you know, they're all around very good moves. You know, like I said, it just depends on where you're at, what boss you're fighting. Next one, Selfless Healer. This next line, Justicar Vengeance or Word of Glory. I'm using Word of Glory. Selfless Healer, I feel in Word of Glory are pretty much like neck and neck. Depends if you want to spend the holy power or, you know, you don't. Selfless Healer is good, so you don't have to spend the holy power and you'll get a good sizable heal. You know, I think you can only heal one target with Flash of Light, obviously, so it's more of a you know, like, oh shit, heal for either yourself or one other target member. Word of Glory is 2 of the most injured targets, and the heal is pretty massive. So, you know, you take your pick depending on the fight. Again, Justicar Vengeance is just, we no longer use it anymore. It's too expensive, and I mean, the damage is there, but to get the maximum effect of the damage, you need to stun the target. We can't, you know, there's a lot of targets that can't be stunned when you're going in these raids. So there's that. And Divine Purpose, right? So I'm using Divine Purpose because of the synergy between Righteous Verdict and Divine Purpose. Now, you know, I'm a big fan of Inquisition because of how it feels, the increased haste, the damage. You know, it's still very, very good. But with the testing that I've been doing, especially with these 3, I feel the synergy is just, it just feels nice right now, you know. And again, you know, this is just me personally. I know before I had Inquisition over Divine Purpose with Hammer of Wrath because of how Inquisition affects Hammer of Wrath cooldown time and things of that nature, and it's still very, very good. But when you get these 2 procs, I really feel like the damages, it really comes out, and you're gonna get these procs sooner or later. You may not get as many as you would probably like, and I could see how, like, again, you know how I am about RNG. I'm really not feeling the RNG, but and that's what the Hammer of Wrath is here for. So I'm not completely RNG'd out. You know, if I had the Blade of Wrath, Divine Purpose, and, you know, Righteous Verdict, like, it would be just complete RNG madness. And, you know, if they're not proccing a lot, then, you know, you're wasting a lot of it. But at least, you know, with Righteous Verdict, you're not completely wasted. You know, as long as you know how to manage your holy power, you should consistently have this up on a boss fight. You know, granted, if you're not moving as much, that's why I said more for a raid. There's more time for you to lay in on the target. And with Divine Purpose, that increased damage on the next holy power spending ability, and on top of the increased damage from the Righteous Verdict, oh man, it really works out. So I want to show you guys just a rotation, a generalized rotation on what you would do, and, you know, hopefully you will pop it. You know, you'll pop the proc. So what I do when I usually go into a boss fight, you know, and if they have heroism or anything like that, it really doesn't matter, because since our cooldown for Revenge and Wrath is so fast, we pop it, Wake of Ash. Then if you have Inquisition or not, you'll pop it. If you don't, you do your holy power spender. Boom. Oh, excuse me, I messed that up. Actually, that's not how I want to do it. You want to go with Avenge and Wrath, then Wake of Ashes to get 5. Then after that, you'll use your Holy Spender, which is Templar's Verdict. After Templar's Verdict, then you'll go Blade of Justice. And then after Blade of Justice, you're gonna go Hammer of Wrath while your Avenging Wrath is up. If it's not up, then you go from Blade of Justice to Judgment, and you continue the rotation from there. The reason why we do this is because pretty much think of it in terms of you go with the higher cooldown first, and you go down to what is faster cooldown. So for instance, you want to go with Avenging Wrath because you want to get Avenging Wrath off of cooldown as fast as possible. Same thing with Wake of Ashes. You want to use Wake of Ashes, it'll give you 5 holy power, and you want to get it off of cooldown as fast as possible because you want to use it as much as you can. Anytime you have enough holy power to spend, you use it immediately. If you get the free one or not, you use it always. So you get you'll get 5 holy power, you use a Templar's Verdict, get that buff going, and then you'll use Blade of Justice. Blade of Justice, obviously, because it's the higher cooldown. Not only that, but you also want the proc of Art of War to come, and you don't want it to be wasted. You don't want to get a proc of Art of War. Let's say, see, I got it off cooldown, right? Say I'm doing my thing, blah 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 blah. Doing my cooldown. You want it to always be on cooldown, so that once Art of War procs, which, come on, RNG proc, baby. Wow, it takes a while, huh? See, this is why I don't like RNG. It hasn't proc once. That was the Divine Purpose. That wasn't this proc. Wow. Come on. Proc for me, baby. Well, it doesn't seem like it wants to proc, but you always want to have this off a cooldown so that Blade of Justice procs. You don't want to waste it when it's off, when it's already off a cooldown, and then you get a proc. It's kind of wasted in that instance. So that's why you always want to have Blade of Justice on cooldown, and not to mention that it's the higher cooldown. Then after that, you go to Judgment, because Judgment it increases the holy damage for your next ability that costs holy power. So you'll have that off a cooldown, and then you should be throwing another Templar's Verdict soon. And Crusader Strike, since it's a fast cooldown, it's really just like a filler. Like Crusader Strike is really just a filler for you to wait for these other more damaging moves. So gonna go for it again. You'll pop Avenging Wrath, Wake of Ashes, Templar's Verdict, Blade of Justice, and then you throw Hammer. Boom, another Templar, Judgment. Boom, another one, and as you can see here, that's how it goes. Use the Crusader Strike as fillers, Hammer of Wrath, boom, Blade. See what I'm saying? So the only one thing I do want to mention is that out here, because of my PvP talent, when I judge the same target, Divine Punisher, I generate 3 extra holy power. That's where you're seeing me getting so much holy power for a Judgment. Don't worry about that when you go in raids. Just in case you don't know, you won't get that in raids. So that's why you're probably saying, but Holly, you just use Blade of Justice when you had enough for a Templar's Verdict. That wouldn't be the case. That wouldn't have been the case if I was inside in the raid. So just want to give you that heads up, just in case you're like, I'm contradicting myself. So yeah, with that, for the raids, that has been so far, with my testing has been helping me out a lot, has been giving me that damage that I need, that I'm loving. And like I said, it's really because that you have more of a chance to proc these abilities on a boss that's, since he has so much health, and there's a lot more time to sit there and take the damage. Like I said, Inquisition is still great. If you feel more comfortable with it and rating, it's still good. It's pretty much just a preference thing. Like I said, this is a my way video, and this is how I've been doing it. So, and it's been working for me. So hopefully that helps you guys out when it comes to rating. Now for Mythics, The only things that I change out on Mythics is I'll put into Zeal, I'll put into Blade of Wrath, be quiet, and Inquisition. I'll put into all of these. Now the reason why I put into these instead is because now Zeal, if you check the Judgment, empowers you with Holy Zeal, causing your next 3 auto attacks to occur 30% faster and deal an additional 468 holy damage per auto attack. That's per auto attack. So it helps with trash because you're hitting more. It synergizes well with Inquisition, and on top of that, you see, like I was telling you before, Mythics is a lot of moving around, especially when you do Mythic pluses and you got like the puddles on the ground. You know, you got so much things going on. You need to be mobile, and you need to have you need to be aware of your surroundings. So the good thing about Zeal is, let's say I hit a Zeal, you see the buff is still there, right? Auto attack speed increase, deals holy damage, and I'll have the 3 charges for each of the auto attacks that you get the extra damage on. If I'm running around doing my thing, whatever, I don't lose those. And check this out, if I'm far away and I still want to do some damage, throw another one and it just stacks. So, you know, you're not losing anything, and that's, I think, the biggest thing with this build. You don't really lose anything from this type of build, right? Now, for the next row, before I go to the next row, actually, Righteous Verdict is still good. It's just the only problem is if you're moving around, you're gonna lose that buff from the Righteous Verdict. Like I said, it's so chaotic, you're probably gonna lose that buff, and you're not gonna be getting the maximum effect of it. At least this one it stacks. Every time you Judgment, it'll just stack until you use the the auto attacks, which is a really good thing. Execution of Sentence, you know why I don't use Execution of Sentence, is the same reason that I had in the last video, so check it out if you need more information on it. Now I use Blade of Wrath because I feel Blade of Wrath in conjunction with Inquisition helps proc Blade of Wrath more. So because I'm getting 7% extra to haste, that's more haste, which gives me more of a chance to proc Art of War, which is because it's off haste. Oh, no. I'm doing something, Gege. Come on. So that's why I'm using it in conjunction with Blade of Wrath. Now, Fires of Justice, I've been thinking about it, and I think it might be good, but the only reason why I haven't really used it is because, like I said, Crusader Strike is more of a filler, and I mean, it's not really doing that much damage. So that's why I haven't used Fires of Justice. And the damage from the Blade of Wrath proc, like it's really good. So Hammer of Wrath still can be used, but like I said, it's about maximizing damage and the use, right? Like I said, with Mythics and Mythics Plus, there's a lot of things that you're probably gonna do that's gonna end up being that you can do that ends up being wasted, and you don't want to waste. You want to, it's less waste, and what's going to be more usable. So it's a coin flip between these two. Again, like I said, this is my way video. I haven't done enough testing with Fires of Justice yet, but like I said, Crusader Strike is always more of a filler. And you're going to have most of the time you're going to have Crusader Strike available in a rotation. And even if you don't have it up, there's not very much downtime without having a Crusader Strike. So that's why I haven't really picked it up yet. But again, I haven't done enough testing to really confirm that yet, because you do, not only does it reduce the cooldown of Crusader Strike by 15% and grants it a 15% chance to make your next holy ability consume less 1 holy power. That may help you out DPS wise, because you 1 less holy power means that you can do more a holy power spending move, so may work. I haven't done enough testing, so I'll test it soon. Same thing on this line, everything is good. Fist of Justice, you'll have more chances to stun, and with these Mythic pluses, stunning a target that the tank has that's not doing damage to the tank is always great. Repentance, if you need it, there's not really many times you need to repentance people. Other people have CC moves. Blinding Light, same thing, but you got to really get in a big group to have this work. So that's that. Same thing on this line. I mean, Wake of Ashes is just too, I don't know, it's just too strong, in my opinion. But I mean, you could see the uses on these other ones, like I said before. But Wake of Ashes is Wake of Ashes, man. You know, Blizzard did us too good with Wake of Ashes in the last expansions for us not to have to pick it up again. Same thing on this line. I just use Cavalier for the mobility. You know, this is relatively the same reasoning. Same thing on this line. Don't use Justicar Vengeance. Selfless Healer. If you know, I can see Selfless Healer working a lot more on Mythic, because you know, you want to focus on either the healer or the tank. If you have to give them like that oh shit heal, then you won't have to waste the holy power. But I mean, I like the Word of Glory because, you know, of the utility of it. You know, helping out the healer with a group heal can sometimes, you know, make or break a fight, especially when you need like a lot of damage. You know, you need some of the damage to stay alive so that you can get through. So, and again, like I said, Inquisition, with the synergy with Blade of Wrath, with Zeal, you know, it's all about speed and maximization. Maximizing, excuse me, I don't think maximization is a word, but maximizing everything. Like, even if you know, have Inquisition up, a three stack of Inquisition lasts you 45 seconds. So you could be running around doing whatever way you gotta do and still have your still have your timer on it, still doing extra damage on every hit, and still have that haste, so that, you know, once you finally get back to whatever you're doing, you still got that speed, and you still got those auto attack speeds, you know, you still got the extra damage. So it's like I said, this build is more on, you know, waste not, want not, you know, that's the best way I could put it. So on top of this video, you know, I didn't really want to make it that long, but I also want to I'm going to put some clips up of a raid boss battle so that you can see one of the builds, and then a mythic boss battle so that you can see the difference between the talents. And, you know, then like I said, this is just my way, this is how I do it. This is just to give you a guideline to doing what you guys want to do with the Red Paladin. Don't take my word as gospel. Take it as a baseline and then mold it into what you find to be the best. So yeah, that's it for me. Appreciate you all coming through. Appreciate the love and support. You know, hit that follow, support the channel. You know, I do a lot more other than World of Warcraft. So supporting the channel would mean a lot. I don't ask for any money for anything that I do. I just do it out for the people. So to help spread the word to the people, you know, hitting that follow and, you know, liking what you see, that helps out. Other than that, blessings to all. Yeah, take it easy.